Hare Krishna. I am happy that we are meeting after 118 days of our video presentation. We have completed chapter 1 and chapter 2. Now we are in the path of starting the chapter 3 it will go up to chapter 18. I am happy that we are all together and hope we will continue together and have more and more friends of yours and relatives of yours joining in the viewership. When we are summarizing, we are now actually summarizing chapter 1 and chapter 2 because we are going to start on chapter 3. When we are summarizing chapter 1, there is nothing much to talk. We will not talk about Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, all that. So we are just giving the gist. What is the gist of chapter 1? Arjuna is not interested in fighting and he says a lot of reasons. He talks 18 slokas to Krishna. Krishna talks nothing but does one action only. That is having a far-reaching result on the whole context. Krishna was driving the chariot of Arjuna and Arjuna said, keep it in between the two armies. He could have kept anywhere, but he kept in front of Bhishma and Drona, and it triggers a set of feelings in the minds of Arjuna, which would not have been there if he had brought him to Duryodhana or somebody. So he was starting to feel that I am going to fight and kill my guru and my grandfather, which is not so. That's what Krishna is going to do. In the second chapter, Krishna is talking only 2 slokas and then one more sloka, that is third sloka, in which he is telling that Arjuna should fight the war and what all he is talking is foolish. That's all. Only 3 slokas. After that, except for one sloka when Arjuna is asking what is Sthitaprajna's qualities, other than that 60 slokas, non-stop Krishna is pouring out his reasons why he should fight. Why Arjuna should fight the war. So, it is great of Krishna that in 63 slokas total, a man, Arjuna, who started with no fight, took the command of Krishna, no fight, and he turned around and then finally said in chapter 18, 73rd sloka, he said, I will do what you say, Karishye Vachanam Tava. Arjuna, we will see that he could have told in second chapter only 72 slokas are there. In the 73rd sloka, he could have said, I will do as you say. Because from third chapter, what you are going to see, even till the 18th chapter end, not in one place Arjuna is saying again that I will not fight. That means he is mentally resolving to fight as per the Krishna's words, which he is telling in the ultimate analysis. But the effect is, Krishna has convinced Arjuna to turn around. Nayotsye in 9th sloka, second chapter 9th sloka, to Karishye Vachanam Tava. A complete turnaround of 180 degrees. It is possible only by the eloquence of Krishna, his choice of words, his play of words, everything, all poured into one. But Arjuna, what did he say? How did he behave? He said only 4 sentences, 4 slokas, that why he will not fight in the second chapter. After that, in the 7th sloka, he says, I am surrendering to you, please advise me. But I am saying it is half-hearted. Why it is half-hearted, how do I know? Because very next sloka, he says, my body is burning. This grief is too much. This grief will not go away even if I win the kingdom like heavenly powers. All that he says in the next sloka itself, when he asks for guidance. And then without asking for guidance, he talks the reverse. And in the next sloka, 2.9, he says, I will not fight. So Krishna is patiently watching this. He also patiently watched those 18 slokas of Arjuna in the first chapter. And then now he gives out his points. But what are the points which he is telling, by which this magical turn around of Arjuna is taking place? There are, I told you, 60 more slokas. But I am not going to list the slokas and meanings of all the 60 which we have done earlier in these days. So what I am going to see is the gist of the whole slokas, what he told and how it had a telling effect on Arjuna. He says, you are worried that you are killing your grandfather, your gurus and relatives, friends. But you must know that there is no possibility of you are killing the Atma. You must know that the Atma and body are different. That's why first he starts saying that you, me and all these kings will always be there. They have always been there earlier. They will always be there in future. Means what? That you cannot kill any of us, any of them. You will not die because you will be again born as something else. So he says the example of your season. Just as the seasons come and go and you are not worried about that, same way there will be sukham, dukkham, happiness, sadness. And with this, Krishna is launching on a very big, in 15 sloka, very big theory which nobody has ever told. And what is that? That is, if a person can be equal to, with equanimity can handle happiness and sadness, then that is the eligibility for moksha. Which all rishis and munis and tapasvis, they are all wanting that. That a simple formula Krishna is telling in the beginning of the Gita itself. So with this, he is going on building up. How he is building up? He tells first, Arjuna, that you are not killing the Atma. Atma cannot be killed. Nothing can be done to the Atma. He tells elaborately, but we can tell simply, you cannot do anything to the Atma. No damage, no danger to Atma, you cannot kill. So when Arjuna cannot kill the Atma, then what does he kill? He kills the body. Body is temporary, any day it will go. So for killing a body which will anyway die, so for that you need not worry. That is what he says. Another major factor of Arjuna was that he will incur sin in fighting and killing his opponents and his relatives and gurus and grandfather. But Krishna says two valid points against that sin point. The first point is that you will, as a Kshatriya, if you don't follow Swadharma, your own dharma, then you will be incurring sin. Two, the second point about sin is that if you do your duty of fighting without bothering about the results, without bothering about the sukham or dukkham, happiness, success, victory, nothing. If you don't bother and then do your job of fighting for fighting's sake, then you will not incur sin. That is the second point of sin. So, his point is nullified. So, Krishna proceeds slowly and cautiously, step by step, and says that your whatever you have been telling is not correct, and when you cannot kill the Atma, and what about the body? The body in the youth, in the boyhood, in the childhood, body is different. But Atma passes on from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to youth to old age. Then that way it passes on from that body also to another body in the death. Another angle of viewing is that the body is changed. Like we change the dresses, our garments, throughout our life. When the body is becoming worn out, it changes the Atma goes to another body and gets a new body. There is nothing to worry about this. Any man who is dying has to be born. Any man who is born has to die. These 2 points will ever be there throughout the human history. So that you should not worry about that, Krishna says. Then another point which Arjuna was worried about people, what they will think, how I can face the people, is not correct. All that Krishna proves that the very same people whom he is worried about will talk bad if he is withdrawing from the war scene and goes, they will say he is a coward. So what he is worried about is what exactly going to happen if he follows his own method. So that point is highlighted and done well. So success or failure, if you don't bother about that, then it is fantastic. Now for a Kshatriya, Swarga Dwaram, he says, the doors of heaven will be open when he fights a war which is coming on his own, without he is going and indulging in a war on his own, when it comes on his own. So that is one great point, and Kshatriya should be happy about that. So Swadharma, talking about happiness and this one, sadness, not bothering about and not worried about results and going on doing his job. All these points are real gems for convincing the mind of Arjuna. If you see, in fact, he was not talking, but if we were to rewrite that Gita, we will not do that great blunder, but I am saying for argument's sake, if we rewrite Gita in the 2nd chapter, when Krishna says, you cannot kill the body, you cannot kill the Atma, you are only killing the body which is going to die anyway. Arjuna will say, yes, correct. Avunu kada? Yes, it is correct. He will say. Then he will say, a man who is born, he is going to die. Correct. I have been seeing people being born and being dead. Correct. A man who is born, he will die. A man who is dying will be born again. New point is that we are always there, we will always be there. Yes, that I have taken into my brain. Like that, each point Krishna says, Swadharma, your dharma as a Kshatriya. Yes, now I realize, yes, Krishna says, correct. My dharma is to fight as a Kshatriya. I should not bother. If somebody comes and say, you protect me, it's my duty to protect. There I will not say, I will not raise my sword against an unknown person. Whoever does something wrong to this person who comes as a man of surrender to you, you must help him. That is Kshatriya dharma. A Brahmin need not do that. So, Arjuna will agree to every point and then link it to, instead of Krishna telling, he will link it to, yes, if that is the case, I should not hesitate from fighting. If this is the case, then what's my objection to fighting? Like that he will change in his mind, and the whole thing becomes a clear-cut reply to Krishna's words, Karishye vachanam tava. Instead of beating around the bush, he will say. Then why did Krishna say another 16 chapters, 3rd to 18? That is not for Arjuna, because Arjuna never raised this point again any time in these chapters 3 to 18. He only said, ultimately, I will do as you say, which you could have told in the end of 2nd chapter itself, as we told earlier. So, what for Krishna is telling about all the other chapters, yoga, sannyasa. About yoga, he tells in this itself that yoga is without bothering about results, bothering about sukham, dukkham, whatever you do, that is yoga. That is a perfect way of doing things. And one final point before completing is, once you cross moha, the forest of moha, then everything becomes very clear to you. What all you heard so far, what all you are going to hear so far has no meaning. Only if you have moha to be behind you, crossed over moha, and you go out of the moha. What are the 3 points? One is, I am this body, which we all are thinking, which is not correct. We are the soul. 2 is, I have done this. So, never, 3rd chapter Krishna says, a man who thinks he is the doer is a vimuda. very deep, in a deep sense, he is an idiot. So, I am the doer is wrong. I am the owner. Oh, yesterday somebody was the owner, today your name changes in the document, that's all. You are not the owner. When you die, some other name will come, whoever buyer or your son or grandson will have his name written on that. What is yours? So, mine, I am the doer, I am the body. If these three moha points are crossed, then you become a superior Sthita Prajna. That is what Krishna has told from 2.55 to 2.72 in 18 slokas. He has explained. If we go through all these points and think over, then second chapter itself is the full Gita, I would dare say. In fact, even Prabhupada has told that the second chapter is the summary of the whole Gita. So, let us look forward to the same cooperation, same viewership, the increased participation in the third chapter onwards. Hare Krishna.